My guest today, Ben Blackburn, the founder and the CEO of LifeLab Supplements and Manufacturing.
I think there's a lot of confusion in terms of what's trending and that necessarily doesn't have much scientific background. Like taking more does not always equal that you're going to get better results. I've heard about creatine, so it must be no good. It's like there's a reason you've heard about creatine.
Probiotics solves all your gut health issues.
Yeah, and
is it true?
We had someone who came to us and they've been struggling with Parkinson's. I think taking protein's really good. I think people can get a bit blindsided when they go to buy it.
There's a lot of myths surrounding, supplement. What are the common ones you come across? In this episode, we will break down the biggest myths in the supplements industry. Is it too good to be true? Probably is. The real role of supplements, how they fit into a balanced health and wellness approach, how to make smart, cost-effective choices, because wellness shouldn't be breaking your bank. Welcome to Empowered Human Podcast, brought to you by Empowered Human Tribe, a not-for-profit dedicated to making mental health and wellness tools accessible to all. A big thank you to LifeLab for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, Ben.
Thank you very much for having me, Eddie.
I heard it's your first time being in the podcast.
Yeah, it's the first time I've done a podcast, so it's going to be interesting.
What are you expecting it to be?
I don't know, a bit of a casual conversation, just trying to forget about the other bits that are around and talk like we talked when we first met, really.
I love that. All right, let's get straight into it, because I feel like the people want to know, because there's a lot of myths surrounding supplement. What are the common ones that you come across?
The common ones that I tend to come across tend to be around like how much they've got to spend on them, how often they've got to take them. I think there's a lot of confusion in terms of what's trending and that necessarily doesn't have much scientific background. I mean, there are supplements that are emerging in research, but the way that they get hyped, I think that's one of the biggest myths that I see, is that maybe there's going to be a cure-all for certain items, certain illnesses or sicknesses that people have. And I think that's one of the biggest myths I see.
And do you ever find that I think people expect supplement to start working straight away? From your experience, roughly how long should you use a supplement for you to start seeing results?
I think one of the parts I would always say is consistency. So you tend to see people where they're not consistent in, say, the creatine dosages, and therefore they don't see optimum results. But I would always advocate at least between 2 to 3 weeks. Certain supplements can act faster, but it kind of depends on people's goals and how hard they go with other areas. I think the idea that people are going to see instant results, that tends to be in the world of much more pharmaceutical-based products.
Got you.
Like kind of, if they're going for muscle growth around steroids, and again, if it's, say, sleep or anxiety, even when they put people on, SSRIs for anxiety, these tend to be like taking 2-3 weeks before the kick in, and that's kind of at prescription medicine level grade. That
makes sense. So like, it's not really something you go to supplement for, like an instant thing. Like the word is, it's supplements for a reason. It's not, what would you call it, pharmaceutical drugs that you
it's
take
not prescription medicines.
Exactly. In this day and age, stress is on a high. One, like what do you think, is the main cause for that, and how can supplement help address issues around stress?
Sure. I think the biggest thing that I tend to see for stress is social media actually plays a really big part of it. And people's work lives. I think there's a lot more pressure these days for people to be more aspirational. Like everyone's trying to squeeze the productivity out of their days, and that can lead to a lot more stress and pressure. The manipulation of body image, I think, creates a lot of anxiety for people.
Sure.
I'm sure the implications of the pandemic also played a big part of people becoming a lot less socially interactive in normal situations, and that leads to it. So I think a mixture of them factors tend to play into it. And I don't think we do the same things that we maybe used to 10 years
Back
ago
in this stage, yeah.
that might help,
Yeah.
such as going out, playing football with your mates, going out, spending time with your friends.
Yeah.
Maybe going for swimming, doing
Yeah.
exercise. It's too easy to sit on the city once of a day. You had 4 or 5 channels.
Yeah,
you got
true.
bored.
Yeah, that's it.
And you had to do something different.
Yeah.
So I think there's some of the parts that maybe play a part in it.
Massively. And where do you see the role of supplements in within that?
I think supplements can play a role. I think there's some really good scientific evidence around certain supplements that work, such as ashwagandha.
Yeah.
We base all our research on from a source called examine.com, which do meta-analysis on scientific peer-reviewed journals. They're unbiased, and they're not like taking any money from other
companies,
other industries. So that research is kind of unbiased, and that's where we make our decisions from, and that's kind of what we see. So ashwagandha helps really well, but you've got really simple things actually, such as lavender oil.
Interesting. I've never.
Yeah. So lavender oil, your brain has actually got like receptors within it where these molecules from the lavender oil will bind, and they provide like therapeutic effects within a very short period of time.
Lavender oil. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the first. Yeah. Okay. Ashwagandha is one that I've heard a lot about.
Yes.
I started taking it myself. Can you explain to people, like, I don't know, why ashwagandha, why is it becoming a big trend that everyone wants to take it, and how should you take it if you're new to it?
Sure. So ashwagandha itself is from Indian medicine, predominantly.
Yeah.
And the way that it works within the body is that it reduces cortisol levels. So one of the big parts that people feel as part of a stress response is that it releases cortisol.
Yeah.
And by decreasing the cortisol, will put the body into a more relaxed state.
Yeah.
So it acts as an adaptogen.
Gotcha.
And therefore it doesn't act in terms of causing people to be drowsy, just a bit more relaxed from a hormonal point. Yeah. And obviously the hormones are the main parts that control all of your emotions within your body, whether it's being happy, upset, sad, whichever it might be. So by balancing them, it's a way to help relieve that stress and anxiety, and the research is really good on it.
Okay.
I think over the recent years, you've seen where some of the brands have spent a lot of money on developing it, and you do get a lot of fake products in the market. So you got to be a little bit careful about it. The great part of it is it tends not to interact with other products. So sometimes, if you were to be looking at dealing with supplements with regards to stress, say, for example, 5-HTP, quite a popular one. But again, that can interact with other antidepressants. So if people...
so if you're on a medication,
if you're already on medication, you might see interactions, whereas ashwagandha tends to have relatively low interactivity with other drugs.
Got you. So if you're new, you've never taken it before, dosage-wise, you just follow what's at the bottle. Is that what you recommend?
I would tend to recommend that. I would always recommend when people start taking supplements that we start at like the half dosage range.
Got you.
So if it says take 2 capsules, just take 1. Take it at a sensible time.
Yeah.
And then you can see how it is. Take it with food. If it's recommended to. I normally try and take it with food. Yeah. Just because it helps your body is normally used to it. Ingesting compounds in that kind of form.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's I would recommend it being start a half dose and then work up to something. I tend not to recommend people to go above the dose. Yeah. It's one of the parts that I do see with people who may be a bit more into the gym and they really want to push it. More is, like taking more does not always equal that you're going to get better results.
Yeah.
So all you do is you end up chucking your money away. You're using like double, triple the dosage. It's costing you a fortune, and you're getting very little kind of out.
True. You say that, but also, is it true that obviously, like if you have bigger body mass, like the dosage might not have as much impact on you compared to a smaller person? Is that true, or is that just?
I would say it's definitely true with some compounds.
Yeah. Okay.
it depends on how they work within your body. So like if they're going into specific kind of receptor sites, the density of them will only be marginal.
Got you.
Whereas if you were to be talking about other things like say creatine, then you need to be going kind of per kilo body weight.
Makes sense. Let's now look into let's talk about longevity.
Sure.
What are the common myths when it comes to supplements and longevity, and also as well, like what supplement do you play a role in?
I think for me, when people start looking at the longevity aspect, it's very difficult to actually measure.
Yeah.
I mean, scientifically, they can measure the length of your telomeres, but that's not practical in most people, and the data on it is scant. So I would always tend to look at people who are touting where they're going to reverse their age by 25 years or whatever. I think that's a bit of a misnomer. You've got that guy, I forgot what his name is, Brian Johnson.
Yeah, Brian Johnson, yeah.
And he's taking 127 different supplements, spending £2 million a year.
Jeez.
But I don't know whether I'd want to look like him.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a lot of admin. To be fair,
it's a lot of admin. Yeah. So I think the idea that taking some of these more fancy and weird and wonderful things are going to be the elixir.
Yeah.
And really, it probably comes back to the basics.
Yeah. Just like living a good life, like having a community of people to support you.
Exactly, combining that element of health and well-being. I think part of the supplements is only one bit. You got the diet, a bit of exercise, and not doing some of the things that are really bad for us, like the alcohol and the cigarettes. Yeah.
So when it comes to again longevity, we often hear about like NAD plus boosters and all that. Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Sure. So in terms of the NAD plus precursors that you can consume, so NMN is quite popular.
Okay.
That one is still showing a bit of promise, but I think it needs a bit more research. Again, it's based around the vitamin B3 molecule, so I think in terms of safety, it's still there.
Yeah.
And the research probably needs to catch up a little bit. For me, there's other supplements that I think are more cost effective that people can start with. So vitamin C, N-acetylcysteine. These are things that people can incorporate. Coenzyme Q10, CoQ10. These sort of vitamin E. These can be obtained a lot more cost effectively and also have a bit more research. So
behind them.
So I'd say for people starting with them, and then once you're happy that you've got a good solid foundation on them, start exploring maybe with like NMN, PQQ, PPQ. But at the moment, again, that one's, I think it's even classed as novel food in the UK. So
wow. So like would like if by taking those would that reverse your age?
I mean, I think they can definitely make you feel better.
Okay.
So you'll feel healthier. So whether that's going to mean longevity, it can be a different part. And longevity, it can be determined in many different ways. Is that by your heart, your liver, kidney functions? So there's quite a bit to play around with.
So let's now talk about gut health.
Sure. Okay.
So I've heard it a lot that one saying is trust your gut, and I feel like there's a lot of conversation about your gut being responsible for your overall health. Can you tell us more about that?
I think the gut's a really important part and was something that was overlooked for a long period of time. It's getting its time in the light, which it kind of deserves. As a functional organ, it's responsible for quite a lot of bodily functions and production of different enzymes. Sometimes people don't realise, but serotonin is actually produced in the gut. Not in the brain. So people think, serotonin makes you feel happy and it's produced here. It's not. It's produced within the gut.
Wow.
And because of that, making sure that you've got the right things going in, makes sure that the microbes that are living there, that we really don't actually understand fully at the moment. There's a lot of research going into it, which I love to see. I love to see how that's kind of coming out from the scientific studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big myth that probiotics solves all your gut health issues.
Yeah, and
is it true?
No.
How about the yogurt on the shelf that says it's got probiotics in it?
I hate them because, in essence, your stomach is designed with acid to kill bacteria.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, like bad bacteria, but your stomach doesn't really discern between whether it's good bacteria or bad bacteria. It just kills bacteria.
Yeah.
So if you drink these yogurts, the amount that may pass into your intestine is actually limited.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ways that people try and deal with it in some of the yogurts, but again, I think it's a really expensive way to do it.
Yeah.
There's much better ways. I think some of it is through food and diet.
Yeah.
Increase in fibre.
Yeah.
Through eating more legumes.
Yeah.
Beans, peas, that kind of stuff. People always say about kimchi and some of these other fermented foods.
Yeah.
Which I think can be a bit more difficult. I don't know if you've ever tried any.
No. I don't think I want to try it either, to be honest.
Like sauerkraut and stuff like that. These fermented foods.
Yeah.
They can be a bit difficult to palate.
Yeah.
But some of the easy ways are a natural yogurt.
Okay.
So some of the natural yogurts.
Natural Greek yogurts and stuff.
Yeah, natural yogurts, because the way that the body deals with it is in a much better way than, say, like a small shot of Yakult.
Yeah, makes sense. And what, like...
don't want to get super apologies to Yakult.
Yeah, sorry, Yakult. Pre and postbiotics, what are the difference?
Okay, so prebiotics are the items that your gut microbiome is going to use to make these bacteria.
Gotcha.
Whereas probiotics are the ones where you're actually ingesting these bacteria.
Got you.
So I would say that you do need a little bit of a mix.
Yeah.
Some people might not have been exposed to enough strains of different bacteria to make sure you've got a healthy and balanced gut microbiome, and that's where probiotics may come in.
Yeah.
Or if people have been on courses of antibiotics, they can also upset it. And then obviously giving the prebiotics means that it can sustain itself in a more natural and functional way going forward.
Got you. When we talk about immune system, people tend to like ramp up their immune system regime during the cold season. Like, what would your advice be? Like, should you only be taking it seriously when it's cold, or is it something that you should, like, you need to be looking after yourself the whole year round?
So the bacteria and the viruses don't go away. As you know, with COVID, still going on now.
Of course.
Even though everyone's had a vaccine.
Yeah.
So the reality is, I think over the period of the year, I do think people get more tired, more depressed in certain seasonal periods when it's raining, they're stuck inside.
Of course, yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to probably people, how they interact with each other.
Yeah, true.
In terms of from a supplementary perspective, I think if you keep consistent with like vitamin C, omega-3, 6 and 9, D3 and K2, like some of the like really basics, just get yourself like a pill organizer.
Okay, yeah.
Just get yourself a little pill organizer and keep that handy. Then you'll have it means that there's no friction for you being able to consume these products.
So I'm a massive fan of like pill organizers. I think it's because I feel like taking supplements can be a bit of a chore, and I think trying to get out of the bottle and trying to combine them is a bit long. So honestly, it saves my life because then I'm able to, like, every Sunday, like today, I'm gonna organize all the supplements for the week. So Monday, I'm just going in Monday, opening it and just downing it, and then forget, not thinking too much about it, and it becomes less of a task then.
I think, and it's a great way on the Sunday to set yourself up to being like,
ready for the week.
I'm going to have a decent, healthy week here, and like just lays that foundation very simply. In my cupboard, I do it every week, and just set out. I think I take five different supplements, and then it can't daily. You might miss the odd day, but overall,
you're
much less
pretty
friction.
consistent. All right, let's talk about my favorite topic: supplements for muscle building and fat loss.
Okay, yeah.
All right, which ones do you recommend? Which ones do you think are overhyped? And which ones should you take if you're a beginner and you're looking to get into, using supplements to make some gains.
Yeah, it's all about it's all about the gains.
It's all about the gains.
So for me, I think some of the, like I said, the fundamentals really.
Yeah.
The fundamentals people sometimes overlook. They overlook them, they skip them. Oh, I've heard about creatine, so it must be no good. It's like, there's a reason you've heard about creatine, because it's been around for a long time, 40, 50 years, maybe longer, and studied consistently and shown to provide results, and it's cheap. Yeah. And it's cheap. So that's some of the parts that I would say, creatine's really good as long as you cycle it properly.
Also as well, when it comes to creatine, a lot of people talk about holding on to water weight. Like, is there any actual science behind that, or is it just?
You do get some retention of water.
Okay.
But if you cycle it properly, you'll obviously go through them times, a bit like when people are going through bulking and then cutting. You're bulking on calories. You do put on excess fat, and then the idea is you cut it, and it's the same with within the cycling of the creatine. Yeah. Give your liver a rest as well.
For ordinary people, what does cycling mean?
Okay, so cycling basically means you may take the product for 8 weeks, and then after that you will come off it, and you might have 4 weeks off not taking the product.
Got you, yeah.
And that allows your body to kind of regain an element of balance.
Yeah.
Give you, like I said, your kidneys and liver a bit of a time to rest, because they are filtering a lot. Excess creatine.
Yeah.
I think taking protein's really good. I think people can get a bit blindsided when they go to buy it about what's in the protein. Yeah. So just because it says protein, it doesn't mean that what you're taking is actually 100% protein. Or anywhere near it. Yeah. So if people are buying it from certain stores where it looks like a really big tub, and that looks cheap because you're getting 5 kilos for a certain price, when you look at the ingredients, it's going to be full of milk powder. It's going to be full of other sugars, maltodextrin, other bulking agents, and they're cheap. So that's why a 90% whey isolate is going to be 3-4 times more expensive than a bulker.
So like your recommendation would be to go for a whey isolate if you're looking to get.
Even if you're looking to bulk, because if you really want to bulk, you can go and eat fats a lot easier. Go on and get yourself a donut if you want to eat carbs and fats. You can't go with donuts. And you're going to appreciate it
Costa
a lot more.
donuts.
There you go. So I think that's one of the parts that I sometimes see around people for training. Yeah. I think in people bulking and trying to recover as well. Yeah. The use of branched chain amino acids.
Yeah, BCAAs.
BCAAs and glutamine. Again, quite cost effective. Yeah. And very limited side effects. Yeah. But it means that you can train a little bit harder, and you're more likely to go back to the gym because you're not like thinking, I can't move today.
Yeah. So I can't get out of the toilet.
I'm going to have to my missus to come and wipe this.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if you're a beginner and you're thinking about going to the gym, or you're just starting going to the gym, you would recommend them to start using BCAA, protein, or like would there be like a step-by-step thing that they can almost like build up to?
Yeah, I'd say it's a step-by-step. Yeah, trying to get enough from your diet.
Yeah,
is like
the foundations first.
Yeah, so it's like the pyramid in it. You diet at the bottom, exercise in the middle, and then we talk supplements at the top. Yeah, and that's like your 5 maybe 10% maximum that's going to be gained from that. The rest is going to be on that little on the core bottom 2 parts.
So supplements are magic. You still need to take care of the foundations.
Yeah, still need to take it on the foundations. They'll definitely help. Yeah. I mean, we see some more of the novel stuff coming in, which is interesting. Kind of some of the more. Which is so we keep an eye on a lot of this stuff, and we do try and include it. Yeah, and I'm happy to provide advice, guidance to people who maybe have heard all this and they want something a bit more advanced. Yeah, so like we look at like BCP 157, which is a peptide to help with like muscle recovery. Yeah, but these things are much more complex, and when you start getting into that, you need to be already knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. Let's talk about gender specific. Supplementation, nutritions. Obviously, women have a lot of hormones to contend with compared to men. Should there be any like specific supplements that, different genders should consider, or that are more gender specific?
I do think there are some elements that can be defined by that, depending on people's goals. So, within the female community, they tend to have more requirements for support in premenopausal situations, peri and postmenopausal situations. And there's some good evidence on items that can help with these kind of problems. I would always recommend that prior to that, especially when you're talking about the hormonal system, it's better that people get checked out instead of self-diagnosing.
Yeah, absolutely. Get off Google.
Google's not your friend in some respects, and ChatGPT's even worse. So, I mean, I would always go and get diagnosed, because it might be a thyroid issue, it might be some other elements that are causing these problems, and that can have more consequences if people start playing with things and they haven't got a good understanding of what the baseline problem is.
That makes sense. Now let's look into when you're getting older, should you consider using supplements more, or should it be a thing of you just doing what you're doing, or what you've always done?
I think one of the parts that we saw change in the COVID period was actually a lot more people came forward who was kind of like, they hadn't been maybe looking after their health as well. And they were, all of a sudden they were like, oh, you're in the high risk category. And it was like, oh damn, I need to do something. So for that type of person who's maybe looking to get started on that journey, get stuck in now. The sooner you get a handle on your overall health and well-being, because it's not just about taking some supplements and everything's going to be fixed, as I advised today. But I think you do need to take more protein. This is speaking from advice with my own family. They do tend to look to take more things for joint and muscular elements. So they take krill oil, omega-3, 6 and 9, glucosamine. So again, these things relatively inexpensive. Very limited side effects, but there's some research to show that it helps. And I think that helps when you're getting slightly older. I mean, as I start to get older, I'll be looking to take more around the nootropic range. So things that will help with like dealing with choline within the brain. So specifically acetylcholine within the brain, it's shown to play a major part within how the impact of dementia and Alzheimer's may progress. So there's a couple of things there that I would look at, that I'll be looking to take as I progress. Absolutely. At the moment, the research people are taking, some of the younger people are taking it now. To try and help them with the studying.
Got you.
To try and increase memory and cognition. I think the research is a bit more limited in that age group. It may be effective, but it's definitely been shown to be effective in slightly older people.
Absolutely. Talking about old people, because obviously we've spoken before, talking about, what got you into doing this in the first place.
Sure.
Talk to us about
that. So my grandma was very close to me when I was growing up, and whilst I was at university doing my business studies degree, my grandma asked me if I could get her 25 kilos of a diabetic sweetener. So she just wanted a small amount of a diabetic sweetener. So I just went on eBay. This is like 2004. I just went on eBay just to see if you could just buy her a kilo. Just kind of that way at the time. And I had a look online and there was nobody selling it. I'd had some experience in business prior to me starting uni. So I just went online, searched the manufacturer's directory, found someone, called them, asked if they could supply the product. And they said, we only sell to businesses and we only sell 25 kilos. So that was literally kind of, I rang them up 3 days later. I thought there must be an opportunity. So I rang them back 3 days later. Said, I'm Blackburn Distributions, which was the previous...
I love that,
Which is the previous name of LifeLab. And I just said, I'm Blackburn Distributions and I want to buy 25 kilos. And then I had to set it up and start labelling it. And then from there, it was literally I was speaking to my grandma, what other things do you use?
Yeah.
And then I started noticing that actually people were more using this product as not as a diabetic sweetener, but actually for weight loss. So they were using it as like a calorie-free sweetener.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So that was what inspired the, you creating your own brand company, brand of supplements and manufacturing as well. Like when did the manufacturing side come into play?
So the manufacturing kind of started in 2010, 2012.
Yeah.
I just kept getting asked about. We was only selling raw ingredient powders, so just bulk powders, but in a consumer format. And in 2010, between 2010 2012, people just kept coming to me and saying, "Can you make us this formulation? Can you make us this formulation?" And at the time, I kept saying no. And after a bit, I just said, "Yeah, I can do it," and then had to figure out how to do it. So literally spent hours and hours of the research, finding it out. Started buying small machines, see how it worked, testing it, and then built it from there to now we're running machines where they're doing like, I think we were at one point, the maximum we could do was about 10,000 capsules in a day.
Wow.
And now we're doing like 92,000 capsules on one machine in an hour. And then we've got like 15 machines, so.
Jeez. Full operation.
Yeah, it's scaled up a bit in the time.
Yeah. What's the most enjoyable part of your business, and what brings you the most joy in doing what you're doing?
Do you know what? I think what brings me the most joy is knowing that I've been able to help someone.
Yeah.
We had someone who came to us and they've been struggling with Parkinson's, and the mannitol powder had been shown to be effective in assisting with that. And this lady wrote me like a letter, and in true format with a check for about £8 in it.
Yeah.
This was, I don't know, probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And she really wanted to buy this product. But she was struggling to use the computer and stuff.
Yeah.
So that, and she was just, and in the letter, it was just saying how much it had helped to alleviate some of her partner's problems. That was experiencing it, and for me, that's what brings me the joy, is knowing that you've helped someone.
Yeah.
And that it's improved their life a little bit.
That's amazing. So obviously, recently you guys just launched your own stack packs.
Yes.
What is stack packs, and why is it beginner friendly, and why should people use your stack packs?
Sure. So stack packs kind of came out of a bit of a trying to find this happy medium between where people can buy from me the raw ingredients and then weigh them all out themselves, put them into a capsule machine and kind of do it that way.
Yeah.
But again, it's not very user friendly. For starters, for people who are getting into it. And then on the other side, you have larger brands who spend a lot of money on fancy packaging, fancy marketing. It'll cost you £70 a month in a nice box, but your box ain't giving you any supplementation.
You're paying for packaging.
You're paying a lot for packaging, or for someone to brand endorse it. And I was kind of looking in with how the cost of living was going. I just, when you see it, we were seeing more people taking the route of, I'm not using a tumble dryer now. I'm using my air dryer. I'm cooking my own meals. I'm using air fryers. So they were spending a bit more time to, they were prepared to accept a little bit of the kind of inconvenience, but it meant that they got a better product or it cost them less. And that's kind of where the stack packs is. It sits in that middle ground. And what it means for the consumer is they can pay for a small subscription, which will give them a 2-month supply, and they'll get kind of all the ingredients that are needed to suit a particular goal that they might have. So instead of them having to go away and add all these supplements to say for muscle growth, they'd all be combined for them.
Oh, that's amazing. And like you were saying earlier, a lot of people are doing things that are more sustainable, and they want more accountability, and obviously they want to make their own stuff and make their own capsule. And I feel like being able to make your own capsule is quite fun to do. And
I think it's a good part of a learning journey.
Absolutely, yeah.
where people may not be fully qualified as a chef, but they still like to cook at home.
Yeah.
They know the ingredients that are going into it. They know that they're fresh, they're good quality.
Yeah.
They get that learning process as well about how these different things combine.
Yeah.
And that's a very similar thing within the supplements. Is it helps bring on both knowledge, and also, like you say, practicality of understanding what they've actually made, and a bit of pride in that they've done it themselves.
I love that. Where do you see the trend in supplements evolving? Because it's a big business, big industry.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going? Obviously, we've got the new technology, new AI, and like, do you see that playing any role in?
100%.
Yeah.
I think the use of data is going to be critical. It depends how they bring it all together.
Yeah.
But the use of wearables, so
of
you
course,
know, like the Garmin, the Whoop, Fitbit, all these people are gathering this data.
Yeah.
If they can combine that with what other people's medical and maybe other physiological things are offline, then it gives a real data source for going forward.
Yeah.
In maybe in how we do research.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it can be really difficult to do clinical studies because it's expensive.
Yeah, of course.
You're doing it on a small cohort of people. Whereas if you've got significant data over a number of over people, and you've got sufficient data, it allows you to get to some results a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So we see that as a big one. The use of AI as well. Being able to use that data so that it can tell you about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether the people are happy or not, privacy.
Yeah. Also, as well, last year I bought a pack online that it's basically you ring them up and apparently they can do like all your blood works and all the checks and stuff.
Sure.
Like, is something you've done yourself, or you know, what is your take on it?
It is something I've used myself actually. I do drink alcohol myself.
Yeah.
So they had a free trial on offer.
Yeah.
And I used it. I went through the trial. It was interesting to see. I think with it needs a little bit more from when I used it. This was a little bit of time ago, but it didn't really. You had to go away and do the research again, you know, to understand what it means and what you're going to do about it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's if it's relatively uninvasive, and can give you some ideas, then why not?
You do it, give you that extra advantage. Maybe not to that guy's level. Is it Brian?
Yeah. Well, it's obviously you can go down the route of getting your genome mapped through 23andMe, but I think that can throw more problems than it solves.
In what sense?
Because obviously you may get false positives. So, and people who are already going down that route might already be looking for something.
Yeah.
So it might make them more concerned than less concerned.
Yeah, got you.
You know, and I was like I said,
looking for more problems.
Yeah, and the computer's only told you, so it hasn't actually maybe had enough information as a doctor might to tell you, like, you're showing markers for breast cancer or something like that.
So like you we'll still need that combination in the relationship between, you know, actual, you know, doctors and technology working together.
Yes.
To provide more reliable, results, not just relying on one source. And I
think at the moment, I think that's how it is. But it's definitely interesting to see the future trends of like how things are coming forward with different delivery methods.
Yeah.
So like say within the probiotics, we use delayed release capsules.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't dissolve in the stomach, it releases in the gut.
Got you.
You know, so like there's different ways to package the materials for how they're received.
So what would your main key takeaway for people that are listening to this right now be around supplements? And also, how can they spot whether supplements just a gimmick, or is it, you know, there's an actual evidence backing behind it?
Yeah. I think for me, the criticality is if it's just popped up on your social media feed and you're seeing it all the time, and these people don't have really any credibility, or they're not particularly in the industry, they've popped out of nowhere, or like you often see these things saying, oh, this unheard of herb from India, brand new, and it's like all people in India are screaming like, "No, we've been hearing this for a long time." But any of that kind of marketing or where they make claims that just sound unrealistic.
Yeah.
I think that's one part that I'd like people to take away.
It was overhyped, over-marketed.
Yes. Just be a bit more cautious, do a little bit more research. I would recommend going to examine.com, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's a free resource.
Yeah.
They have a paid option, which we utilise. But for most people, the free option will tell them enough about it to say...
What about that, yeah.
Does it look like it'll work or doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just a simple page to use and you're not going to get marketed.
Yeah.
I think the other takeaway points for me would be keep it simple. Go back to keep it simple. Go back to basics. It can be very easy to get overwhelmed with all this new stuff and should I have this and should I have that?
Yeah.
Get the basics nailed down and then add one supplement at a time and see if it makes any difference.
Absolutely. I love that. Also, as well, I want to mention, obviously, you guys are one of our sponsors at the moment, Empowered Human Tribe.
Pleasure to be working with you.
So it's we're very excited to have you on board, and obviously, people that are listening to this, there will be more information, more educational content, around supplements. So we'll be working together and creating more educational content to educate people about supplements and you know. Help empower you to live your best life.
If anybody would like specific advice, feel free to drop us an email, drop us a message, let us know what content you'd like creating in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be happy to do some more deep dives into very specific areas or specific supplements.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can people learn about yourself and the and the brand and the LifeLab? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so the best place to find us is if you go to LifeLabSupplements.com or LifeLab Manufacturing. If you're interested in setting up your own brand, you've got a specific concept that you want to launch, there's plenty of information and resources there for people to get stuck in.
And also as well, we're going to have you as part of a community. So, you'd be, one of our contributors. So if people have questions regarding supplement, are you be able to at Ben in the group if you're part of the community? And on that note, be part of the community because I'm watching. If you haven't, go find us, Empowered Human Tribe on socials and be part of the community where you get access to amazing people like Ben and amazing information and actual evidence backed, not fluff or your favorite influencer telling you to buy the supplements that they bought yesterday. Be part of the community. Anyways, thank you so much, Ben, for today. Thank you for educating us about supplements. And until next time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, smashed it. Well done. If you have enjoyed this episode, join the Empowered Human Tribe. Find us on social media at Empowered Human Tribe. Stay connected, share this episode, and if you would like to support our mission, check out how you can get involved. And of course, a huge thank you to LifeLab for sponsoring this conversation. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep living your most empowered life.